Today I sat down with A.L. Rivers, who also goes by Anna or Anna. She said pick one. I won't. I'll just continue to say both of them for the end of time. But we talk about Heartless Hunter. She's a repeat guest that I had on to talk about her personal book, A Touch Unexpected, and we decided to do a bit of a buddy read and chat about it. Joke's on me though, because I read this book a few months ago and my brain decided to Control-Alt-Delete a few very important details. And you will see the shock register on my face as I remember essentially what happened and how the book ended. This is completely full of spoilers, so I recommend to either listen to this if you've already read the book or if you don't care and aren't planning to read the book. So as always, I hope you enjoy. Welcome to Busy Reading Romantasy, a video podcast that discusses books that merge elements of romance and fantasy while occasionally exploring other genres. We get to escape our world and dive deep into themes of good versus evil, power dynamics, and all of the delicious taboo topics. Curiosity and open-mindedness are a must. That being said, this is a podcast for mature audiences only and will contain spoilers. Your mental health matters, so be sure to check the trigger warnings of each book to decide if this is the right episode for you to listen to. Now, let's get into today's episode. Summer life went crazy, so I completely understand. It was like touch and go, where I like this book I think I read in like a few days, and then I didn't touch a book for like 2 weeks, and I was like, no, this is fine. Yes, but I've recently come out of a slump. I've read a couple things that I really
that's
enjoy,
good.
so it's always nice.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, sometimes you gotta mix it up or something like that, or you just need like a break. I don't know. Or if
Yeah.
something's really good, then you're kind of like on a hangover and you just gotta wait till you find the next one.
Exactly. And I think like sometimes I feel the pressures. I love this podcast and I love the opportunities that it gives me. And also sometimes having a schedule, like, you know, authors will usually tell me when their book is going to be released. And so I'm trying to like align the times and like hit their release dates and stuff. So, and then sometimes I'm like, "Oh, okay, so like I have the next month of like worth of books that I like need to read. And the minute you like need to read it, I'm like,
oh, same. You know, after when we last talked, I think you were telling me you were about to go to like a silent book club. And I was like, you know what? I need to try a book club. So then I tried a book club and it's nice. I think I'm going to do it, like, continue it like once a month. But they, you know, it's like one book a month. It's not hard, but it's like a little bit out of the norm that I typically read. And so I am also kind of like, you know, I'll just be like, oh, I know I need to read this, but like I really wanted to read this one first. And then it's just me scrambling like 3 days before the book club meeting. And I'm like, oh God, I gotta read this.
Yes. I was telling you about the silent one that we do here where it's like bring your own. So the last 2 months they've sold out before I could get a ticket. So like I haven't even been able to go. And
I mean, good for them.
I'm talking like 5 hours after they post, I'll go to the link and it's already done. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Cool. So I need to like make an alert when they post so I can immediately like hop on there. But I was like,
smart. But yeah, that's great for them.
Come back.
Like, wait a minute, can I just like reserve a spot?
Yeah. Exactly. But today we're here to talk about Heartless Hunter. So I'm here. Sorry, I was gonna ask before I started recording. Remind me again, Anna or Anna?
Anna. It both is fine. My dad will say Anna, you know.
Perfect. Okay. Anna/Anna. For those of you who watched the podcast, I had you on to talk about. Oh my gosh, where did it go? I have a very bad double stacking problem, so I'm like losing. Oh, it's right here, right on top. We talked about your book, A Touch Unexpected, so I highly recommend you check out that book. But we decided that it would be fun to chat about a book that we've both read. So how fair warning. I read this book 2 months ago now, and when I went back to read my notes, I was like, "What?" Like, I could
I'm hoping
not.
I can help jog your memory on certain things because I like just read it.
Perfect, absolutely, and at any moment, if I start saying something and you're like, wait, hang on." You're like, "Let's back it up." Um, Thankfully, shout out to recaptains.co.uk. I was reading their summary before we hopped on, and I was like, "Yes, it's coming back." I do remember.
It's all coming
Um,
back. Yeah.
but yeah, pretty much, this is all going to be full of spoilers. Obviously, it's us just discussing the book. So, highly recommend that you read this before you listen. Or if you have no intention of reading, then just listen and have fun, I guess. Um, but I guess just starting from like a high level view, what were some of your thoughts around this book? And then we can start to go through maybe some more like specific scene and plot points.
Yeah, so full disclosure, I am like an audiobook person, so I
Fair.
listened to it on audiobook.
Yeah.
And I really liked the narrator. I think it's Grace Gray. I
Okay.
thought she did a really good job. And yeah, so I just finished it and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a
Yeah.
really fun read. I'd say like at least like 4 out of 5, 4.5, something like
Yeah.
that. Like, I just thought I appreciate it because, like, I honestly didn't really know anything about this book coming into it.
Fair.
And then you had suggested it, and I was like, okay. It kept popping up on my like recommended reads, and I was like, okay, I don't know what this is. Is this gonna be too stressful or whatever? So I kind of went into it knowing like a little bit, but not much. And yeah, I just ended up enjoying it a lot. I thought it was really fun.
Yeah, that's
What about
fair.
you? What did you think?
I enjoyed it as well. I'm pretty sure on Goodreads, I think I gave it a 4 out of 5. I really liked I'm getting into when I read more witch books, I like unique magic systems. So I thought this one with the whole scar situation was a unique take that I hadn't like read before. Not to say that that's never been done. I just haven't read it
Yeah.
if it has.
Yeah.
Um and I think the whole witch hunter dynamic is a really fun um, trope, I guess. For me, it's a very similar vein of like enemies to lovers, where like there's something about absolutely being taught to hate and judge something and then actually experiencing it and coming around to it and realizing you can love someone who is like different from you. I think that's a very beautiful like storyline.
Yeah, it's like a very hopeful or, I think good message or whatever, like to
Yeah.
ultimately be, open-minded at the end and like
Mhm.
able to change your mind. I think that's yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
really great message.
I think that's one of my favorite things about fantasy in general is it gives us this make believe situation. Like it's not real, to then but it's very much applicable to issues we face, especially concerning like racism or stereotypes and kind of all those things that keep
Yeah.
us apart as individuals. It also reminded me of, have you by chance heard of or read the Serpent and Dove series by, I believe, Shelby Mahurin?
I think I may have started the first
Okay.
one, right?
Yeah,
I think I didn't complete it.
fair.
I can't remember why. It might have just been that I, like, was like, "Oh, I'm in the mood for something else." I feel like sometimes
Yeah,
that happens to me. It'll be like, "Oh, I wasn't in the mood for this," but I think I did start reading it because
yeah.
the main character was, like, kind of a thief-ish. Was this the one?
It's very similar. Yeah, she's a witch, and then she ends up being like a fake engagement, I think, to a witch
Mm,
hunter.
mhm.
And I think so that's what it reminded me of in this story. I think the main
Yeah.
difference is like in that series, you have the very confident, bold female character, whereas the male main character was very like not cinnamon roll because he was part of the like witch's guard situation, but like he had a very sweet innocence about him, where we tend to see in books like the opposite, where you have that like very like the male character is like, don't worry, I can teach you, he knows everything, and then the woman's all innocent. So I like to when that's like reversed, because you're like, oh, this is still a little different.
Yeah.
So that's not to say Gideon is not necessarily a sweet little innocent boy in this series, in this book, but that it reminded me of kind of like a similar situation.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah. But let's get into it. I have some plot points here. I have some notes that I will occasionally read aloud because I think you're gonna find them hilarious.
Yeah.
I'd like I'd like to point out that I think my note taking has gotten better because for a while my notes are so bad that I was like, I don't know what I'm saying. Like when I read the book, it makes
Mhm.
complete sense to me. And then if
Mhm.
you give it anything over a week or two, I'm like, what do you
You're like, "Who was I? Was this
I
me?"
one of my notes was, I mean, so after I read the plot,
Mhm.
I remember what I was talking about, but when I come back to like 2 months away and then I'm like, her drinking wine exclamation. Okay.
Mhm, mhm,
That's it.
mhm.
That's all I said
Yes.
about that. And I was like, yeah,
You're like, "Yes,
no
very
problem. No
useful."
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we start with our main character, Rune Winters, and she is surprise, a witch.
Yeah.
But she's masquerading as this like socialite, and we
Kinda
find out,
ditzy, you know?
yeah, which I love that as well. There's something
Me
about
too.
people just like making assumptions about a character and them just like playing it up, and then
Yeah.
you find out they have so much more depth, because Gideon does not like her. He's like, there is not a thought in that pretty little head.
I
um
agree.
but we find out her past as well, that she had to report her grandma, her nan,
Yeah.
in order to save herself. So she's a witch living in an area where witches are not allowed. They'll just kill them, purge
Yeah.
them, of course.
Purge them, yes.
Yeah, like not yeah. Um, and so that kind of spurred her of like, oh, if she's willing to rat out her own grandma, she is committed to this cause, and she kind of works her way up in that stature, but at the
Mhm.
same time, she's the Crimson Moth.
Yeah.
What did you think about just kind of like that double life and just her as a character, really?
Yeah. You know, I liked her. I think, I like that they made her smart or, clever, but not too clever. Like, she
Mhm.
definitely made mistakes, and I liked that because I feel like, it was a little more relatable, and I think
Mhm.
it offered a little bit of levity and humor during other parts of the book that's pretty dark, or, like, it could skew
Mhm.
really dark really quickly.
Yeah.
So I liked yeah, I thought she was a good character. Like you said, I like that she was able to play into kind of the surface level vain socialite.
Mhm.
Um, and then kind of I I think it was the author was successful, and I feel like it's probably hard to do to be able to make the character ditzy to the audience within the book, and then showcase that she's actually not,
Mhm.
and then also have Gideon kind of realize that himself. I mean, I think it helps that it's dual POV, so, like, we actually get to see his perspective, and I feel like, honestly, is probably necessary for
Mhm.
it to be dual POV, otherwise,
Yeah.
like, you would never really know, like, what he was thinking. But yeah, I thought she was a good character, and I I was all about I thought she was smart, and I was all about her taking advantage of her like monthly, cycle, that usually it just usually sucks, right? Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like usually, there's a lot of symptoms and it just sucks. And I liked that she was like, no, I'm going to actually take advantage of this and use it to protect yourself and also to still do, practice magic and things like that. So
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, let's talk about the magic system really
Yeah.
quick. That one I did have sufficient and by sufficient I mean a couple words of notes
Yeah.
about. But that's what I had mentioned around that was like one of the tells of witches is that they would have scars because they needed to use blood magic. So she did take advantage of her monthly cycle, and also leaning on her friend Verity, who has a crazy story as well. But that was like one of the things that added to the tension is when Gideon is trying to find the Crimson Moth, and there's like some hint that it might be her, and he's like finding these scenarios to get her naked to look at her body, and of course she doesn't have them.
Such a troubling situation
like,
for
oh,
him.
gross, I guess.
Gross. Yeah. Oh, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But before we get into all of
Yeah.
that, I love alliteration too, so I thought it was cool how they were explaining like the different categories of magic and how essentially each one would require um more amounts and also fresher blood. So that became an issue as well if you're making bigger making bigger spells, bigger magic. You couldn't necessarily rely on your cycle that was like already 2 weeks old at that point. But so they explained it. A mirage, which is the easiest, I believe, that was just like a quick like it wasn't real, but it would make them look like something was amiss, or different than what it was. And then menorah and majora, so like the minor stuff and the big stuff. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Also, one of my notes was just mimic spider 57. So going to page 57.
Okay. It looks like
yeah. I really
okay. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. I like to leave myself clues, apparently.
Yeah.
No, but turning to page 57, one of the things that I really liked was basically, again, I think a lot of Rune's strategy. Verity's explaining the mimic spider. Uh, uh, it's a spider that preys on small mammals, and she goes, their webs need to be strong enough to catch and hold much bigger food. They feign weakness, and their cries summon rodents looking for an easy meal. But once the predator stumbles into the mimic spider's web, they quickly become the prey. Once they're caught, the spider devours them slowly over days, eating them alive. And I think that just kind of set the like strategy for Rune.
Yeah, definitely. I think so too. Yeah. The author likes insects.
Yes.
Also, yeah, I'd never heard of a mimic spider or whatever, so that's cool.
Yeah. And just that like highlights a lot of I think that's also like a common trope that we tend to read in fantasy / romantasy books is a lot of times it's women realizing or coming into or gaining strength of some sort. I was going to say power, and I was like, I don't think power is necessarily the right word, but like skill and strength and being capable of much more than they initially realize. So, and the whole kind of concept of the book was that she's looking for Seraphine, and Gideon captures Seraphine. So then she's going after Gideon, who's also going after the Crimson Moth, which is her. So it was like and it was quite tense where I'd be like, how
is she gonna get away? How? Yeah.
When you're spending so much time together, so they're like putting on this they're like flirting as themselves, and then also their jobs are like looming over their shoulders. Like what they're trying to accomplish. And then not to mention her friend well, she has two friends throughout the story, Verity and Alex. Alex is also Gideon's brother, which just makes it more complex as well. What did you think about the two friends?
So I'm gonna come out and say I dislike love triangles in every form. So I was kind of like, ooh, like my spidey senses were tingling. I was like, oh no, what did I get myself into? But I think I wouldn't call it quite a love triangle. I think I was okay with this one because it was more like, I don't know, one-sided. And I do think it happens where, one friend might end up catching feelings for someone and it's not returned. And I think ultimately, well, it gets to me because I'm like, I've been in a scenario similar to that, before or whatever, where you see someone one way, you just don't see them in another way, right? And so I'm like, it's definitely happens. It's definitely like a real situation. And at first I was like, girl, how do you not know that he's into you? And you are so affectionate with each other. Like you're just cuddling in bed as friends, which just I don't do. But I mean, props, kudos to whoever does. That's cool. But I feel like it was pretty obvious. But I was trying to think about it and I was like, you know what? I feel like it's not that she didn't know. I think she just didn't want to know. Like, I think it's like if you really thought and looked at it, and she kind of comes to terms with it, like in her own thoughts, but she probably did have a sense. She just sometimes you just don't want to look at it because then you have to actually face it. And I feel like that's kind of where she was going. And yeah, so I was kind of like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this, but ultimately it wasn't quite a love triangle. So I was like, okay. And then Verity, I mean, you knew right off the bat something was up.
Yes. Yeah, I did when they were mentioning kind of just her being generally exhausted. She had a pretty steady decline throughout the story, and I'm like,
Yeah.
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Something's happening there.
Yeah. I was like, like the heavy perfume and like she's always tired. I will say again, this is a spoiler. I think I knew she was going to be the kind of she was going to be maybe the main villain or attached to that side, because I flipped between thinking she was Cressida, to thinking that she talked about it several times, and that's why I don't know if it was a red herring or what, but she talked about how what is it, the Majora, where you willingly give your magic or give your blood to someone to use. And so I kind of thought maybe she was like Cressida's sister or someone, and she was tired because she was always giving her blood to them to do magic. So I wasn't sure which one it was, but I figured it was one of those. So yeah, I was like, she's a little sus.
Absolutely. I do think it caught me off guard that she ended up being Cressida. I didn't guess that. I knew something was up with her. I didn't connect the two, and especially I can only imagine the amount of magic it would have taken when I remember Rune showed up to where Verity was supposed to be like living, and they're like, no, she doesn't go to school here, and her
Yeah.
room was actually just like a closet or something. Like that must have been absolutely insane. So that one did catch me by surprise. But I definitely knew like something was up.
You're like, something suspicious. Yeah.
And also that I think I don't necessarily remember all the details, but I think that frustrated me about Alex because that's what everyone thought she was dead. And then surprise, she's not dead. And I was like, Alex, what the heck? What the heck? Am I forgetting something? Like, was there a reason other than
I
him
think he
just
was
being
just
him.
too kind of a soul.
Yeah.
Like he just didn't want to, but he just yeah.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was your take on Alex? Like as a character, the love triangle vibes, what was
Yeah.
yeah.
It's tough because I can see like basically I appreciate everything he was trying to offer her, like safety. He genuinely wanted her well-being. And when you read a book, you always kind of root for the underdog. Like you root for the one that's further out of reach. So I was definitely like, I wanted her to get with Gideon and like overcome their differences. Um, so it is tough, like assuming that she's gonna end up with Gideon as the main love interest, and
Yeah.
like then poor Alex is on the side, and especially when they both start to like kind of up the ante and Alex is like, hey, so actually I'm gonna move, you should come with me. And as the reader, you're like, well, yeah, that would be like the safest, most like best choice. And then obviously it's not that cut and dry to just, and she's not the type to just up and leave, which was kind of the main thing.
Yeah.
So that being said, and then yeah, just the one where he didn't kill the witch that end
Yeah.
up like ruining everything for everyone.
Yeah. I
It's
get it. Like if you can't kill someone, that there's nothing wrong with that. It's good,
yeah,
but like
don't lie about it.
don't lie about it.
Yeah.
Like you really didn't think. I guess like that's the thing. I'm like, I guess he and Gideon didn't talk that much. Like he didn't really know the depth to
Yeah.
how like evil Cressida was. I think
Right.
that might be part of it. And like I wish they did. Cause like I'm sure if he did know really, like he wouldn't have lied. I don't know. Like
Mhm.
you had because otherwise if you did know, you had to have known that she wasn't just gonna be like, I'm gonna run away and then I'm just gonna never do anything again. It's like,
Yeah.
no, this person wants power and will do anything for, that power.
Mhm.
So I'm like, yeah,
I
I
know,
do
yeah.
appreciate that they didn't. I was nervous that they were gonna make Alex like a villain at the end of this, being like,
Mhm.
if I can't have her, no one can, or like,
Yep.
I did this for you, blah, blah, blah. And I was gonna be like, no, don't make I like that the nice guy stayed nice. It just didn't work out for him,
Yeah, yeah.
unfortunately.
I also don't like when that happens of just like something ending poorly and then they choose to like be not
Just
evil feels
blow
extreme
everything
for this
up
one,
or
but yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm like,
Yeah.
or we can all be adults about this, and
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
go
Yes.
your separate ways. It didn't work out, and that sucks.
Yeah. That
Um,
sucks.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
I, I what were your thoughts on Gideon's history, particularly with, well, obviously, like, Cressida was the main part, and like what ended up happening with his parents, like that whole backstory.
Yeah, I mean, that was just really sad. I
It
mean, I
was.
think the author did a great job of making you understand why. Like,
Mhm,
you sympathized with him. You were like, I get it. I get why you are so vengeful and hateful of these people.
mhm,
Um, that being said, it's the whole idea of like, you know, not everyone is like that. But I could see it like your whole family was pretty much ripped away. So it's hard to see beyond that.
mhm.
Um, and yeah, I felt really bad for the guy. I'm like hit or miss on Gideon, to be honest.
Okay.
I think I really liked what I did really like was that he was like I don't like a seamstress. What I don't know.
Yeah.
um
Taylor?
Taylor, yeah. So I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that like this big, strong, like alpha male,
Yeah.
would have been very stereotypical. I like that he knew how to sew and liked clothes, and like I'm really into fashion, so I appreciated that this author, I think, liked fashion because she described a lot of the outfits, and then she went ahead and had the love interest, or Gideon, be able to tailor stuff. So I thought that was cool. I thought that was a nice part of his character that gave him a little bit more something.
Yeah.
I just have a hard time reconciling with the fact that he was really willing to just bone or whatever brother's like love interest. Like,
Yeah.
and it was such a thinly veiled excuses to do it. Like, I get it. It's
Yeah.
like I think it was meant to be kind of, I think, in jest, almost like a play on the trope. Like, that's kind of how I took it. Like, the author made it that way. Like, it is kind of a ridiculous premise. Like, he has to strip her naked in order to see if she's a witch, and like, oh my gosh, my brother's in love with him. But yeah, sometimes I was just like, Gideon, do you have to, can't you like find someone else? Can't Harrow go skinny dipping with her for some reason as buddies, or like go to like a spa or something? Like, isn't there not a bathhouse
Yeah.
people go to? um I don't know, like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of a bummer that
Yeah.
Gideon and Alex's relationship, the whole time you see them, it's not very good. And like, it sucks that it just
Yeah.
doesn't get any better before anything happens. Like, they just don't have like that bond that I'm sure they both wish they could have.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes I was kind of like, Gideon. What are your thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah. Well, first, I do think that scene definitely stands out because, again, I just haven't read anything like that. And exactly like you say, it's this witch purger who's, all big and beefy, and he's over here taking her measurements, like
Yeah.
such a delicate process. And I completely agree with you. That is kind of like the more maybe like frustrating part or tense part as the reader is you want these two people to end up together, and they're both holding their cards so close as to why they're doing what they're doing for a good reason. But then that definitely impacts, like, they had moments where they would be more vulnerable with each other and kind of show insight, and then it would be like, uh-oh, I let the wall drop, slam it back up, regress, go back.
Yeah.
So you make a great point that most of their relationship and most of their interactions is like under completely false pretenses. It's not authentic. They're just trying to get information from the other person.
Yeah. I do think it was surprising that he told, I get it, like, and he explains it to
Mhm.
himself or whatever, like, he has to be honest to he has to give her something to make her feel like connected to him. But I'm like,
Mhm.
he just told her his whole background basically.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a little bit surprising. He made it, you know, pretty known, and I was like, wow, that is a big part of you
Yeah.
that you gave, like, very risky.
Mhm.
And obviously, I guess you'd say it worked out.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
but yeah.
Another big part where I was like, "Why?" was when she goes off to the mine, which is, like, so clearly a trap.
Oh, it was so obvious, like, oh no.
And it got bad quick. I was like, "Oh, you're trapped in there. What are you gonna do?" Like, I really thought
uh,
that was gonna be the end of it. Yeah, what were your thoughts about, that scene and her getting out of it?
I mean, like, I was like, yeah, I was like, oh no, Rune. Rune.
Yeah.
Like, how did you not tell your friends? We're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
friends. Like, you didn't know this was a trap.
Right, and it all
Like,
happened so quick, yeah.
yeah, it was so quick. I was like, oh no, 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 no. So like the whole time you knew it was like an issue. I think she was smart, again, not speaking. That was,
Mhm.
like, clever of her, and, uh and, like, obviously, I thought it was a fun scene, like, I think the author did a good job of, like, making you feel, like, tense in that moment, like, is she gonna get away? Like, when she had
Mhm.
to dunk underwater and, like, she thought he went away, or and I was like, "Mm, I doubt he went away." Like,
Yeah.
"You think this guy's just gonna leave?" But, like, she had to breathe.
Right. Right.
So when she came up and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, man, I thought that was pretty interesting. I will say the thing that's, like, random, but related kind of, is that and this is, like, a minor nitpick, and, like, some other people might be into it, whatever, but I feel like there's a constant mention of how big he is and how small she is. Like, he's this big giant, he's a foot taller than her, he's so big and giant, she's so small, and,
Small girl.
he held her tight, and he's so small, or she's so small, and, like, blah, 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 like, constant mention of it, and it's like, if that's your thing, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you're really into that dynamic, and that really gets you going, and that's great, but for me, I'm just like, I don't know. It was, like, so much mention of it. I was like, "I get it. She's really small and
Fair.
petite, and
Yeah.
he's very big, very large man." Um,
Yep. Yep. I feel like, when I read certain things, then I'm like, "Yeah, couldn't be me." But,
yeah.
like, that part doesn't apply to me when he's like, "And I lifted her up," I'm like,
I'd be like
not I."
I know, I'm like, "Oh, but some people are probably really grooving to this," and, like,
Yeah.
that's great, and I can, like, I guess, understand it, I think that's kind of really popular right now, I feel like, is the big and the small.
Yeah.
Um, but I definitely think And I guess the characters are really into it. She's always talking about how big and beefy he is, and then he's always talking about how small and vulnerable she is. So,
Right.
like, they're into it, like,
Yeah.
that's their
Yeah.
jam, and, like, they're meant to be?
It very much plays into, like, the gender stereotypes, right? That she's this, ditzy girl, little girl, and,
Yeah.
he's the
Little
big,
girl.
yeah,
But then,
absolutely.
that's why she's smart and able to, like, use her wits, which I think would
Yeah,
I
yeah,
that couldn't be me. I would have frozen
yeah,
up. I would've been like, "Well, this is it." I
yeah, yeah.
guess.
I did like how the explanation because, again, the whole idea was that he was gonna very obviously track that back to her, like, he only gave her that information, so
Yeah.
but Uh, I'm glad the author put it in because that was exactly my thought as she was making her getaway, was the idea of that, "Oh, she's the socialite, so she's gossiping and telling everyone about this." That was
Yes.
a great cover up because I
I
was like
think
that was
so
my first
too.
thought of like, "Oh, I just told everybody. I didn't know it was secret. I don't know who could know that."
'Cause she didn't quite mention it, like, when she's escaping, she, like it's not or I didn't get that it was clear that that's what she was going to do exactly, like, how she was like, "In the luncheon, I told everybody."
Yeah.
Um, so at first I was like, "What are you gonna do?" Like, she
Yeah,
is
right. You
gonna go
got
to this
away,
party
but
for the cover, yeah, but, like, what are you gonna do about him having only told you? And so, yeah, I thought that was a great little example of, like, how she was, like, quick on her feet in terms of thinking of a way to protect herself.
right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so like progressing further on, remind me, how does Gideon finally piece together that she's the Crimson Moth? Because she does get arrested.
Yeah, she
That part's a little
does.
blurry for me.
So, honestly, it's a kind of blurry for me too,
Okay,
but base essentially what it is, and I think it's a little blurry because it kinda happens off page.
I
So,
see.
or at least that's what I recall. Basically, she is in her, casting room, that hidden room with Alex and Verity,
Uh-huh.
and, she left, like, the jacket with the coin that lets you into the prison, as well as a vial of blood in, like, a
Yep.
jacket or something, and I think, they had just gotten in a fight, so he came over to, like, deliver something and then saw the vial and the coin, if I recall, and then
That
that's, like,
sounds right.
why he knew, but you
Yeah.
don't which I guess like it's I feel like in this book it's very much 50-50 Gideon, Rune, like you know exactly what's going on. So it must have been deliberate that you don't see him actually discover this at the moment. You don't see that he knows, I guess to build up tension.
Right.
So when Rune gets there, but I believe that was it. So he also knew, so that's I can't remember if he like knew that Alex was in there too. Or I think he did. I think he said he heard their plan. So I think he must have known Alex was in on it at that point. But yeah, I think that's kind of how he found out, and then he used it to his advantage to have her come over.
I do recall that. My last note was Alex not killing Cressida, and then after that I wrote nothing. So I was like, I've noticed I do that when I get close to the end of the book, because usually I'll just finish that last chunk, and that's usually when we get the most movement as well. And I was like, I'll remember it. Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
But yes, that makes sense. We're like closing in on the finish line and the end of this book. So can you just explain a little bit about where it ends up and just kind of your thoughts of the ending overall?
Yeah, so I think again, yeah, like you said, I think a lot of times in romantasies, the ending is just where everything happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, real fast. And which makes sense. Like the majority of the book builds the relationship, builds your character development, things like that. And then at the end is like where it kind of all hell breaks loose or whatever, you know. So basically Gideon discovers that she's, you know, the Crimson Moth or she's a witch, and sets up a trap, and she goes to his house to like pick up something. I can't remember what it is, or like apologize or return some flowers or something. And that's when he has the guards waiting for her. And then they arrest her and like real fast, suddenly they've betrayed each other and she's in shackles and she's like about to be whisked away to just be killed. Like there's no like she goes to prison and they wait it out. It's like, no, oh hey, by the way, it's like a special event. So we're gonna kill Seraphine, the girl that you've been trying to find, and we're just gonna kill you too, like now that we know. And so she gets like whisked away, and like pretty brutally how they kill witches is they like hang them up like meat, like slaughter them like meat, right? They hang them upside down and then they just like get the throat and then bleed them out like a pig or something, you know? So yeah, she's just like up there about to be killed, and you get like zero, I feel like you get like zero Gideon in that part. So you're like, is he at all really distraught? You get like clips of it. He's like, I feel kind of bad. But I think at that point he's just really angry.
He's like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah, this sucks. But like you don't really see him being like, oh my God, what should I do? Should I let it happen? Should I not? I feel like usually you get that, but you're just kind of like, oh man, he's just really angry. He's feeling really betrayed. Which I understand, like, you know, he got betrayed before, but still I was just kind of like, dang, you're ruthless. You're just really gonna let this girl go. And then Cressida, well, Verity, as well as, which I thought it was kind of cool, but also sad, is like all the witches that Rune had helped as the Crimson Moth escape kind of return and descend into this big event celebration. And Verity reveals herself to be Cressida, one of like the three sister witches that like, you know, ruled the land, right? And she frees them. She frees Rune and Seraphine. And then, you know, there's like battle and back and forth stuff. And then Rune earthquakes the place to separate them and they run away. And then that's the end. And then you have a Rebel Witch, I think, is the sequel. Which I'm like a third of the way through at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it was a pretty good, I would have been really upset if that's how it ended for me. Like I don't do cliffhangers well. So I'm glad the other one's out already. But yeah, so it's just kind of real fast, a little bit of action, but it's just mostly like and then Alex dies. Spoilers. Spoilers.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna have to put I'll put a little as you were talking. I don't know if you saw my face, but that was right when I read the note on the website that I was, and it was like, wow, my brain really just went right past that, which shows how connected I was to his character, which was not that much. That I was like,
Yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
god, I forgot.
Like, oh my gosh, Alex dies.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Spoilers. Yeah.
Bummer. That's
Yeah,
sad.
bummer. And like
I feel worse that I don't care that much.
me too, because like he is a really sweet
He
guy.
was. It just
Really
wasn't
sweet
gonna
guy.
work.
Yeah, he was just never gonna work. And if he was a really sweet guy, he just wanted the best for his friend.
Yeah. Oh, poor thing.
And yeah, it just and like he did care for his brother. But he was definitely a character you knew was kind of there to just
Yeah.
be an emotional like changing like point for them for
Mhm.
each of the characters.
Mhm.
I feel like you knew from the start, like poor Alex is he's not coming out of this
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
well. I just don't imagine that happening.
He was already planning to go his own way, so that would have been like I could have foreseen that as being the end of his journey regardless.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of like,
That
oh.
would have been fine. It would have been nice if he just went off into the sunset.
Right. Right.
But
Which
yeah. Oh, and like she kisses him or he kisses her right before he dies. And he offers up his blood for her to do this big spell. That's how he's
right.
able to do it. I'm
Yep.
just dropping spoilers, so I really hope if you're listening to this, you have read this already. Or
Yeah.
if you're like me and like spoilers. So because I'm not gonna lie to you, 70% into this book, I was like, it's pretty it was pretty tense. And I was like, this is not gonna end well. And when that happens, like
Yeah.
half the time I will look up spoilers.
Fair.
I will need to know if I'm going to be
No.
distraught at the end of this or if I'm going to be like, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
didn't. I held strong. I did not.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, so I think yeah, it was a fun end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will say, bummer about Alex, man. That's
Yeah.
that's a bummer.
It's just
I don't know. I just feel like you
Yeah.
get some like I don't know, get some dude reading this that would be like, of course the nice guy doesn't get the ending he
Yeah.
wants.
Finishes last.
Nice
Yeah.
guys finish last. It's like
Yeah. But it's funny too because I feel like I'm being so like blasé about this, but I probably feel like when I was reading it, I was like maybe on the verge of tears to be like, oh my god, that's so sad. Maybe. But then I didn't remember it at all. So like how sad was I really?
I think they did a good job. Like Rune was really sad and you knew she was
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
And like you knew she cared about him. Like
Yeah.
even though his character was, you knew she really cared about him. And so
Mhm.
like that was really hard. And like, you know, I will say it's just so it's fine. I mean, I understand miscommunications happen. Like a lot of, this
Yeah.
is miscommunication, but obviously kind of on purpose because like you can't really
Right.
be confiding in someone. But
Yeah. Yeah.
just every time you read Gideon's point of view, like Alex loves her and like, oh, she loves him back. And you're just like, man, that's actually not true. It's not
Yeah.
that way. But also you're, you know, banging your brother's love interest. So I don't know. Like it's just like,
I mean,
yeah. So I
yeah.
don't know. I was just kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
I I was surprised how the book ended, like where it ended up of her essentially being with Cressida and the all the witches on the ship. Like I didn't foresee that at all. I didn't know where the book was going, but I was like, "Oh, that also sucks cuz now she has to like deal with that."
Yeah.
So I am curious to see where the next book goes with that.
Yeah, and I'm guessing you haven't read it or you haven't
I
heard
have
the same?
not yet, but I was also going to ask you if you were interested, if you wanted to come back and we could discuss the next one since that was already out. I
Yeah.
didn't even know it was when I was looking up the notes for this. I was like, "Oh, okay, I see."
Yeah, it's definitely out and yeah, I'm like I'd be interested because
Okay.
Yeah, I have thoughts already, so,
Perfect.
like, I
Ooh,
would love to
okay.
hear if, like, what your thoughts are,
Yeah.
but yeah,
A
that
and
was
I'll
fair. I
take
was
better notes. For real.
I will also try not to take 2 months to read this,
Oh, good, good, good.
but
Yeah.
ultimately, I really enjoyed this. I will say randomly, I wanted to point out, like, one of the reasons why I'd seen this book before you mentioned it, and it
Okay.
was, like, an automatic no for me at
Oh,
first because
okay.
but not a good reason. It was because it has a moth on the cover, and, my husband has an aversion to moths. That's like he hates
Oh,
them.
okay.
Just like I think it's like something when he grew up as a child, some like thing happened, but anyways, he hates them. And so when I think it has kind of rubbed off on me a little bit. So I was like,
Huh.
it's a moth. I'm not gonna
Ugh.
read this. It's a
No.
moth. They're so furry and fuzzy and powdery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that's what I remember just thinking like, no, that's a no for me. And
And
then
then I come
after
along
that,
being like, "Hey."
yeah, and then I read it and I was like, "Wow." And, like, the moth really isn't that, like, they
Yeah.
mention it, but it's not, like, an actual part of it. It's not like the
Right.
moth is doing the magic or anything,
Right.
so that's fine. But I just remember being like, "I don't know how I feel about this." But, yeah, ultimately, I appreciate you recommending it, and I thought it was
Absolutely.
really fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I appreciate that you looked past the moth aversion and
Yes.
tried it out. And then, like I said, we'll have to come back for book two. I
Yeah,
don't
for
know. Have you
sure.
seen any mention of if it is like a duology or
Oh
trilogy,
god,
or
I
if
really
it?
hope it's a duology.
Okay,
I'm not really into I'm not really into long series, like,
that's fair.
I can't because usually it's mostly because the series aren't done yet, and I just can't
Yeah,
stand, uh, cliffhangers, so I'm really hoping it's a
fair,
duology,
fair.
and I think it will be because actually, again, I I think I have heard through, because on subreddits, like, sometimes I'll just read little snippets. I think it ends someone says it ends well, so that I feel like
Oh,
if they say that means it ends the ending is satisfying, that means
yeah.
there's an end.
Yes.
So,
I just looked it up.
okay.
Rebel Way concludes the story, so there we go.
Okay,
No worries.
cool.
Whew.
Yes. And I was like, "Did you get
No
me into a
more.
multi-series?"
Ah, you're like, "I'm never talking to her
Yeah, oh my
again."
gosh.
First novels and then a trilogy.
With
Ah,
potential love triangle in it, but
ah.
not really. No.
It's like everything you hate, and you've just
I
so
was like
kindly gone along with it for me.
It's like, "Oh," but
Oh,
no,
oh,
I made it through. And I thought it was, I thought the writer did a good job. Like, I think I liked her writing style and stuff like that,
yeah.
so I was very pleased with it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's the more I read, the more I can just appreciate experiencing something new. And I think this book definitely ticked that box for me, especially I think mostly when it came to just the magic system as far as the witches. Because like there was another the other piece that we didn't even talk about was that like played a role in the books was how they're like signature, like their magic signature would show up, and that becomes a part, and it's kind of like realizing the whole system is set to like identify witches, and the whole thing is they're trying to hide their identity in a place that they're not welcome. So
Yeah,
um
definitely.
yeah, it was definitely gripping, and like I said, completely blindsided by the ending. I was like, whoa. So
Yeah, me too. I was like, "Oh man, this is unraveling fast." I feel like I knew it was something was gotta give, right? Like, I know.
right.
But I guess I thought it was gonna be more like she betrays him and gets away. I mean, well, she does, but,
Yeah.
like, I thought it was gonna be more like a aha.
Right, right. There was more players in this story than I expected outside of
Yeah.
the main 2, but, it's definitely intense when you have 2 people so intimately involved that are,
Mhm.
basically supposed to be very big enemies.
Yeah.
So it makes for, tense situations where you're like, "Are they gonna find out.
Yeah. And it's like the fact that it's such like I feel like a 50-50 dual POV. Again, usually I feel like usually it's like Rune would be like the main ones. You get a few insights from Gideon, but a lot of times it's like you get full Gideon too. So like you get both perspectives, which means you really get to know the characters and their motivations. But yeah, so it's just like a whole different, I guess, perspectives. You're always like trying to balance the different perspectives.
Right.
Which I think is good. It like makes you understand their motivations, but sometimes it's just like, oh, okay, that's what it is. I guess there you go.
Yeah. But mostly them like battling their own journeys of where they fit into stereotypes and where they don't, and kind of
Yeah.
just navigating, am I bad, or is what I'm doing bad, or what do we do here when everyone is set in their ways and kind of against what's going on, really.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens in the next one.
Absolutely. I'm excited to dive into that. But for anybody watching, if you have read this book, Heartless Hunter, let us know. What were your thoughts? What were your favorite moments? What were your not so favorite moments? How much did you love Alex? Did you cry when he died? Or did you forget that he died? Like some of us. Oh, embarrassing. Yeah, let us know your thoughts. I would love to share those as well. Like when we film our next one, if anyone like has feedback that they want to make sure that like be like, hey, you guys completely forgot about this part or whatnot.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Let us know. Let us know what we missed.
Sure we did.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
I
And
just imagine you being done with this and then you looking at your notes and there'll be some like random insight. You'd be like,
oh yeah, that's right.
oh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like this whole other character. I don't know.
We both pledged to take better notes, and be on top of things,
Yeah.
really, for the next one. But yeah, thank you, Anna/Anna for. I don't think I can call you anything else now. I just have to include them both because I won't pick one. But thank you so much for your time and for being willing to read this book despite literally everything.
No, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad you pushed me, or you didn't push me, but I'm glad you recommended it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try, because I feel like I can get really stuck in my own, like, very genre specific comforts. So this one was really fun. And obviously, Callisa, thanks for having me on here to talk about it. And it's like, it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you tell everyone where they can find you if they're interested to follow what you're doing? Then maybe like a little snippet of your book if anyone's interested.
Yeah, sure. So if you liked Heartless Hunter, I don't know if you're gonna like my book, to be honest.
It's a different flavor.
It's just different, very different flavor.
Yeah.
My book's a touch unexpected. It's very much like, it's also kind of historical inspired. Like, I think Heartless Hunter is more like Victorian, maybe, and that mine's probably more Regency-ish. But yeah, my main character is like a very soft, reserved character. So like, yeah, you may not. It's a lot more low stakes than Heartless Hunter. But if you need a break from the stress of something like Heartless Hunter, then maybe you will like my book. And you can find me on AL Rivers Writes on Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, hopefully here again once we both finish Rebel Witch.
Perfect. And as always, I'll have the links down in description for anyone who would like the convenience of not searching, not typing in a few letters. But yes, I completely agree. For anyone who needs a bit of a breather between some very intense things, I highly recommend A Touch Unexpected. I very much enjoyed it. So, yeah, thank you again. If you've made it to this point in the episode, thank you so much for watching. I'd be incredibly grateful if you showed some support either by following or subscribing, depending on what platform you're watching on, and leaving a comment. You can always follow me on Instagram at Busy Reading Romantasy or on TikTok at busy_reading_romantasy to see what I'm up to. You can also email me at busyreadingromantasy@gmail.com to tell me your thoughts, dreams, secrets, or if you just have any book and author suggestions you'd love me to cover. Grab yourself a good book, get cozy. I'll see you next Wednesday for a new episode.